Hello, everyone. It's great to see this wonderful gathering of ILR alumni, friends, community, all coming here together to celebrate the opening of our new space here, 570 Lexington. ILR's got a long history in New York City. Right from our founding in the late 1940s, we've been here present in New York City. It's really a symbol of our outreach mission. We are the land grant institution of New York State, and so this is part of what we do as Cornell and as ILR, is being present where the people of New York State are here in the city. We've been down for a while on 34th Street. Our lease there was coming to an end, as all things do in the New York City real estate market, and so, as often happens, we decided it was time for a move, and it was an opportunity to find new space, better space, we hope, space that would allow us to serve the constituents, the people who come to us, our programs that we run out of this facility in a space that we hope will be really welcoming and very useful for the community and the programs that we run. This is going to be a space that is a real Cornell location. We are here on the 12th and 11th floors of this building. We also have Cornell friends below us on 9th and 10th floor from Weill Cornell. I believe Stephen Cohen, the Executive Vice Provost from Weill Cornell, is here. We're also going to get the Business College down on the 7th floor, and you can see the flag outside. Again, another achievement of New York City real estate, that we actually got the flag flying, and we're really proud to see that red flag flying outside. There's a lot of people who put a lot of work into making this possible, so I want to give a little shout out to some of the various people who've been involved in this. I want to thank the File Corporation, the landlords of this beautiful building. For those of you who don't know, this was originally the RCA building, and then later was the GE headquarters. And you can see this beautiful old 1920s, 30s Art Deco architecture that's a really wonderful part of the city. I want to thank the architects from the FX Collaborative, real estate agents, Cushman Wakefield, the construction firm, Alexander Wolf & Son, and all of the Cornell University and ILR facilities people who put a lot of hard work into making this place the space that we're really glad to see it's become. I also want to say we're really proud that we made this place with 100% union labor. That was in our contract. That's ILR's values, so really pleased with that. We're going to hear from a few different people today, some alumni of different generations from ILR, which is part of the great thing about the ILR community. We bring people together from different generations of ILR. We're also going to hear from some very important representatives of the state and the city as well. And so we're really proud to be welcoming there to our new space. I'm going to start off and introduce our first speakers, who are two of our more recent graduates who we're very proud of, Jamie Morgenstern and Sam Falchuk. Little information of them. They're both ILR 2018 graduates. They were the co-presidents of ILR's Student Government Association, and both of them, as many of our alumni do, are working in New York City. One of the things that we're really proud of is about 60% of our graduates come and work here in the city. So we make a real contribution through our alumni to the city. Jamie's from Lido Beach, New York. She currently works as a human resource consultant at Deloitte, where she also interned when she was a student. Like many of our students at ILR, she was down here participating in the ILR WISP program while she was a student. A lot of our students come down to the city during the course of their studies, during internships, WISP programs, other activities. Also, let me introduce Sam Falchuk, who is from Syosset. Am I pronouncing that right? Syosset, New York. Syosset? I'm butchering that. I should have practiced that more. Should have practiced. She's currently an HR analyst at Morgan Stanley. I got that right. where she also did a summer internship. While a student, Sam was also a research assistant at our Scheinman Institute, where she worked on a project with me, where we're looking at New York State schools. It's called Bargaining for Better Schools, and we're looking at the contracts of the school districts across the whole state. It's kind of an example of the research we do that's looking at really practical things that are important for the state and really matter for students and teachers and school districts in this state. I'm going to call up Sam and Jamie for our initial set of remarks. By the way, as we're talking, for anybody who's has hearing difficulties, we do have text of the remarks that are being put up, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Dean Colvin. Good evening, and thank you for inviting us to participate in this exciting event. As proud ILR graduates, we love starting our careers in New York City, the epicenter of culture, business, and development. New York City has almost everything a young professional is looking for. Two events make New York City's ILR complete. First, the opening of this very impressive conference center, where we continue to benefit and grow through our association with Cornell, the ILR School. And then the second, and maybe more importantly, the opening of Wegmans in Brooklyn, an Ithaca favorite.
We remember, as high school seniors, being so excited to spend 4 years at the Cornell ILR School in Ithaca. And now we've come to realize how the ILR experience transcends far beyond the 4-year program. As recent alumni, our connection to ILR is particularly fresh in our minds. Although we traded the bleak and frozen winters in Ithaca for the tropical paradise of winter in New York City, and left behind the trek up the slope to battle for seats on crowded subway trains, we could not leave behind the knowledge we gained, the relationships we made, or our excitement to participate in studying and now participating in improving the world of work.
For those of us who learned so much, participated so enthusiastically, and were drawn into the world of ILR, the opening of this new facility and the expansion of ILR's footprint in New York City presents us with opportunities to continue our association with Cornell, ILR, the place that prepared us for and got us excited to join the world of work. New York City presented us with so many options and opportunities growing up nearby on Long Island in Syosset. And has taken on a whole new meaning now that we live and work here. We began our careers and working in internships in New York, meeting and connecting with ILR alumni at our respective firms, and now we have the opportunity to share our experiences with current students up in Ithaca. And having graduated in May, events as such allow us to reconnect with old classmates, professors, and it's been exciting connecting with all of you beforehand as well. It's astounding how many ILRs we run into in business, on the streets, museums, coffee shops. The list goes on all around the city. This new facility will help to further integrate ILR and its graduates into the vitality and excitement of New York City.
As the economic heart of America and the home of so many Cornell alumni, New York City presents an opportunity to engage with alumni in various fields, which will benefit both Cornell and those of us beginning or continuing our careers here. We are excited to see Cornell's growth in New York City and to continue relationships which have already meant so much to us. We look forward to growing in our careers as participants in Cornell's contributions to New York City and as proud Cornell alumni. Thank you.
Next up, I'm pleased to introduce Russell Hernandez, 1988 ILR, president of Atlantic State Consulting, an expert in real estate development and home construction, who's also been an enormous resource to us and helpful in the real estate process around this facility. But I'd be remiss if I didn't emphasize Russell's particular contribution to Cornell is that he is the father of not just one, two, but actually 3 Cornell students, including 2 at ILR. So thank you very much, Russell.
So basically, Alex just said my whole speech because, yeah, very fortunate. I have 2 boys, one boy that just graduated from ILR in 2017, another one that's a freshman playing baseball at Cornell, and a daughter that's in the HUMEC school, and HUMEC's taking a little piece of our space here as well. So it's kind of cool that Cornell has sort of come together and And eventually, we're going to take this whole building over. All right, we don't have everything yet. We're working on it. I'm looking for the provost team in here because we've had talks about it. The extension or the ILR school in New York is specifically important to me because that's how I was introduced to ILR. My mom, it was actually my aunt's ex-boyfriend, was the head of ILR Cooperative Extension when we were on 25th Street in front of Madison Park. And my mom had this thing in her head about going to an Ivy League school, and I wanted to go to BC or BU or one of the Boston schools and be in that area. And I came to 25th Street and I met with, his name was Eddie Gonzalez, who was really a mentor to me. And any of the old school guys here probably remember his name. And he said, you're coming to this school. You're coming to ILR, you're coming to Cornell. This is the place where I want you to be. You're going to, Ithaca's cold, but don't worry about it. You can always come back down and warm. And I got introduced to ILR here in New York City. So when Joe, Linda, and Kevin Halleck, who was the previous dean, came and we had breakfast and we talked about moving our offices from 34th Street, which in my opinion were just so dreary and sad and I hope I'm not offending anyone with that, but and my mom and those guys said, look, we really want to go here, but we're not sure we can get the right space, and we're going to go look at all these places around New York City, and we'd love for you to come and help us find the places for us in New York City. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. First of all, I got to hang out with the Cornell guys, right, the ILR guys, which was really exciting for me. And we went and looked at these dreary, ugly, middle of Times Square places. I mean, everywhere around New York City, which were really not happy places. And we found this was like one of the last things on our list. I'm looking for Joe. It was one of our last places that we went to go visit. And we came in here and we came up and we're looking. We come up to the 12th floor and we look out. It's one of the few buildings from Lexington, unless you're really tall, that you can see Park Avenue, right? And we're very fortunate, 12th floor, you're looking at the cupola of the Basilica next door, and you can see Park Avenue. So there's tons of light coming in. And then we grabbed the 11th floor at the same time. And then we're trying to contemplate, should we take as much square footage? Do we need as much square footage? And we're taking everything. We'll figure out. We'll give other people to move in with us. And they did. They came. You build it and they'll come type of theory. And it worked really well for us. And we negotiated an incredible lease. The building was very cooperative with us. And again, I joked that we're going to take this whole building. One of the important things, and Linda was stressing it, but no one was listening to Linda, was we wanted to have a flag here. We wanted to have an identity here in Cornell that we literally now hang a flag outside with a big C on it. Right? I'm tired of saying the big H's and the big P's and everything else. They're all over the place. I want the big C red flag out there, and we were able to get that here on Lexington Avenue. The building's been really cooperative, and we will eventually. I gotta check my notes. We will eventually have what I'm hoping the whole as much of the building as we possibly can. Our space, one of the other things, you just said something kind of joking around about the architecture of this building. This building is a fantastic building, being that it was one of the original buildings with the Art Deco. If you go to the Chrysler building has the exact same base lobby as we have here. It's important, right? It's really important. So the architecture school should be here, by the way. They should take a whole floor, and it would be really important for them to be here. But this presence and the fact that we have our flag on Lexington Avenue is fantastic. And I want to thank Alex. You've been doing a great job, keeping everyone going and motivated. And I was talking to Harry, and Harry was joking around about, I have my own little office over here, and I'm really excited. And everyone should be able to have access to here. My son asked, who's a class of 17, he said, do we have access to this space? And the lady was going to tour said, not yet, we're working on it. So that may be something the alumni will eventually work towards. So thank you very much for everyone, with all your support and how much we care about ILR, because to me it's a family. We're all a family here, so thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Next, I'd like to introduce Commissioner Roberta Reardon, the New York State Labor Commissioner, but importantly for us, also a graduate of one of our most important extension programs, the Union Leadership Institute, ULI, which he was a graduate of in 2005. It's one of the important programs and ways in which we make an impact on the state. And so we're really proud to have a graduate of that program in such an important role within the state, where she's now serving as Labor Commissioner. A little background for those who don't know, Commissioner Reardon, she was formerly the president of AFTRA, and played an important role there over 3 terms in office, leading a historic merger with the Screen Actors Guild, a complex labor relations industry that we've been involved with for a number of years. So Commissioner Reardon, a great pleasure to have you here today. Thank you.
Such a pleasure to be here. Oh my gosh, it is so wonderful to be in this new facility and see these beautiful rooms and think about all the great things that are going to happen here, because great things do happen at the ILR. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. Yes, I took my sling off because I am, used to be an actor. You can't do that. So the ILR is really near and dear to my heart. They have been such a game changer for my own professional development. I literally cannot remember the first time I met folks from the ILR. You've just always been there since I've been in leadership in my union. If you need to learn anything about employment and labor policy issues and practices, international and national, you come to the ILR. And as wonderful as the school is, it's the people that I worked with here that really made such a huge difference. And I'm not talking just about my teachers and the staff. I'm also talking about my classmates. My classmates were as fundamental to my education as everybody else in the school. As I travel around the state, and I'm out all the time, which I love, I look out at the crowd and I often see my fellow students and teaching folks from Cornell out in the audience, and they're there as labor leaders. And so it's a real testament to this school that you're training the future of the labor movement. I don't think it's too grand a statement to say that without the ILR, organized labor in New York State would look very different. So, having said that I can't remember the first time that I met ILR, I want to describe for you a little bit of the tremendous impact that this school has had on me. And I was happily an actor, happily burrowing away in whatever that meant, creating my jobs and, going to my auditions. And I got enlisted to run for the local and national boards in '98 for AFTRA, because we were going to the first vote on merger with SAG. And this had been going on for, 40 years. So I said, yes, sign me up. I got elected. By 2002, I was a local vice president. By 2004, I was the local president. And by 2007, I was the national president of AFTRA. And by 2012, I was the founding co-president of SAG-AFTRA. And I have to say that people from Cornell were involved in every step of that process. I certainly didn't do it by myself. And I did do it with a lot of help with the men and women at this school. I was very fortunate to be accepted into the Union Leadership Institute. I graduated in the class of 2005. I think we were the last 2-year program, or the next to the last 2-year program, and it was really an amazing experience. The things that I learned in the classes and the amazing wisdom I gathered from my colleagues and my fellow students really profoundly changed my life. I have used all of that throughout my career, and I call on that knowledge every day. It is a really integral part of what I do and my skill set. The ILR has been incalculable in their assistance, whether it was strategic organizing, strategic planning, and certainly as we worked on the successful merger in 2012, which was a very complicated process, as you can imagine. I drew on the things that I learned, but I also called on my friends here to help me through some very, very difficult times. And to your credit, you always said yes. You never said maybe, you never said why. You always said yes, and I will never forget that. I'm also proud to have participated in the Worker Institute's Labor Leading on Climate Jobs initiative before I became the commissioner at New York State. The Worker Institute, I'm a fellow there. I'm very proud of that. The Worker Institute has been doing groundbreaking work for years to ensure that New York State builds a fair and equitable clean energy economy that both tackles climate change and reverses inequality. And you know how important that is in the world today. I'm very proud that last year my office and the governor's office collaborated with the Workers Institute to become the first state in the nation to require prevailing wage on all large-scale renewable energy projects and PLA agreements on all offshore wind projects. So we're really proud of that step forward. And in the coming year, I look forward to continuing our partnership with the Worker Institute to develop effective just transition programs for workers and communities that are going to be impacted by the transition to a clean energy economy. It's not going to be easy. Thank God the people at the Worker Institute have been thinking about this for years, because now it's on us and we have to do it right because we don't have a second chance at it. In addition to this important work on climate, I've also worked with the Worker Institute on various arts and entertainment concerns, as well as sexual harassment in the workplace, which again has been incredibly valuable in this last couple of years. And that list right alone, going from arts and entertainment to sexual harassment to climate jobs to labor leadership, tells you the depth and the breadth of the topics that the Institute and that the ILR cover every day, every year in the pursuit of worker justice. The wonderful people at the Cornell ILR School never turn their backs on workers who need their help. As income inequality increases around the country and the attack on workers' rights intensify, I'm thrilled to see Cornell ILR double down on its commitment to its land-grant public service mission to improve the lives of working people in New York State by opening this beautiful new office here in the city. Through your outreach division, you combine world-class research with exceptional practitioners who are developing and helping to implement practical programs that strengthen New York State's economic vitality and improve working and living conditions for workers in the state. The work that you're doing in this new facility every day also honors the legacy of one, our dear, dear friend, Lois Gray, who left us this year. So, I was a recipient of the Lois Gray Scholarship when I went to the Union Leadership Institute. Lois was, as you know, an amazing human being. She was fierce beyond belief. She spent her life teaching, learning, and affecting change in the labor movement. She was deeply dedicated to that mission. And I had both the luck and the honor to get to know her personally. She was a force to be reckoned with, as I'm sure you all know, right up to the very end of her life. And she was someone who fiercely believed in me. And that made a huge difference in my life. She was one of the people who just said, well, of course you can be president. Of course you can lead the merger. Of course you can do this. And she said, of course, the things that I had never really thought about before, at least not out loud. So in 2017, when I was a recipient of the ULI's Changemaker Award, it was one of the most validating awards I have ever received. In many ways, it was the completing of a circle, because to be honored as a change maker by an organization that not only changed my life, but has changed the lives of workers across the state for decades was really, really a privilege. I am thrilled, honored, tickled pink, totally excited to be here. I can't express how thrilled I am to be part of you and to have you as part of the thriving economy and labor movement in New York State. Thank you for including me today. Good luck, and always call on me. I'll do anything for you.
Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce a very special honored guest tonight, our Mayor of New York City, Mayor Bill Deblasio. It's both an honor because we are here in New York City, and opening this facility is part of our commitment as Cornell and as ILR to this great city of New York. But I think it's also very fitting because so much of the legacy of Mayor de Blasio's leadership has been on issues that are dear and important to the things that we work on at the ILR School. New York City has a famous history of collective bargaining, of city workers, police, teachers, bargaining in this city. This is a labor city, and that's an important part of New York City. One of the things that's been really striking in recent years is how much success there has been in achieving success through collective bargaining, landmark agreements, areas teachers, city workers. And one of the things we're really proud of is helping support this agenda through ILR alumni on both sides of the table, sometimes even mediating the collective bargaining through many of our alumni who serve in that area. Additional parts of the leadership of Mayor de Blasio that I think fit so deeply with what we've been focused on at ILR are things like the push for higher minimum wages, banning the box against criminal conviction histories and employment applications, and paid time off for all workers, important labor issues that are being addressed here in New York City. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Mayor Bill Deblasio, mayor of the greatest city on the face of the earth, New York City.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. It is great to be here. I love a good, happy occasion. And this, to me, is I want to thank the dean, because this really is a moment that strikes me in the heart, because it's so much about the sense of mission that we feel in our administration and so many people feel here in New York City. And I want to thank you, because this is a place where generations of really talented, committed people have been trained to create a productive, positive relationship between labor and management to move us all forward. And Dean, when you were talking about the reality of the city, it struck me immediately that we are an object lesson right now in this city. We're an example that I hope people will look at in this country who we are. We're the greatest labor town in the entire country. We have by far the largest number of union workers of any city in America. And we also have a very prosperous economy. Right now, this is your fun fact of the day, over 4.5 million jobs in New York City. Over 4.5 million jobs, the most jobs we've ever had. Very proud to say 500,000 of those have been created in the last 5 years of our administration. So we have a thriving economy, and we have a city that works in a lot of ways. And it's also thoroughly a union town, which is a reminder that when you hear some of the stereotyping out there, suggesting that somehow a unionized workforce is not going to lead to positive shared outcomes for everyone, come here and look at New York City would be my answer. Look at what's being achieved here every day. Look at that history that has led up to this moment. Look at our city government, which is functioning, and look at it in its historical perspective. With each year, with each decade, we have gotten stronger and stronger, more and more effective with an across-the-board unionized workforce. So we really prove what is virtuous about a society where more and more people are unionized, what it means. I always say every additional person who becomes unionized, that means that their family has some real guarantees in terms of their health, in terms of their livelihood, and that is good for the whole society. And it's good morally, but I will also argue it's always good for the taxpayers, because a family that's not going to fall through the cracks and need the help of government. So this is a message I hope we all can spread, and it's a country right now obviously going through a lot, our nation, a lot of discussions about what our future direction is. We have something positive to show right here. Dean Colvin, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the great work you do. You also have a title near and dear to my heart, the Martin F. Scheinman Professor of Conflict Resolution. Marty Scheinman knows a lot about conflict resolution. I feel like, first of all, his physical stature is such that he could physically hold the parties apart if need be, which is very helpful. He could use colorful language to intimidate them from having further conflict. But you've done something right in life to have that title. Marty, I have to say, I've known him for years and years. What he's done in the last 5 years, he's been absolutely central to the achievements that we've been so blessed to have in terms of bringing together our workforce with the management of our city government in some real common cause. And he's done that time again. He's done that in situations where people got along more, and he's done that in situations where people got along less. But the common thread was always creativity, helping everyone to keep talking, helping everyone to look for different options, helping everyone to see their common interests, even when sometimes the two parties denied they existed. He was the one who could help people find their way. And also, and this is crucial, understanding that when labor is truly engaged as part of the solution, people will act that way. This is my full belief. If you treat working people like somehow their interests are greedy or narrow, you are only encouraging such an interpretation. But if you say to working people, we're all in this together, how do we find solutions for the good of all? People rise to that mission. We certainly have seen that with our Municipal Labor Council and their focus on healthcare savings. This is the big movable piece in government budgets all over the country. You can find ways to save money on healthcare that still provide our employees with the healthcare they need. If you can do that, you can be a lot more effective in terms of your budget and protecting the taxpayers' interests. It's the big open question. Marty Scheinman worked with the unions of this city, lots of different unions, to say this should be our common cause. If we get it right on healthcare savings, there'll be more resources to protect the employment of workers who do such important service to the city. And if we get it wrong on healthcare savings, a lot of what we value may not be there in the future. And people heard that, and they acted on that. So, congratulations on carrying his name around with you wherever you go. And I also wanted to take a quick moment, special thank you to an outstanding member of my administration who is regarded nationally as one of the great advocates for people with disabilities and does every day amazing things to make real changes that improve people's lives. Commissioner Victor Calisi, thank you so much. So, congratulations on the expansion of ILR. That was just mazel tov or whatever we're supposed to do there. Okay, you waited for the perfect moment. We had it all worked out. The minute I said congratulations, break a glass. So the expansion ILR to me means more and more people who can do this work and help us frame a different kind of future. And I want to say something possibly controversial, which is the future of labor relations is not set yet. You know, the notion, which a lot of us who believe in labor have watched some really tough moments in recent years and some real tangible setbacks for labor. But that is not where the story ends, in my view. I remind a lot of my brothers and sisters in the labor movement that if they really want to see tough times when things were bleak for labor, go back 100 years or more, where the labor movement was struggling to barely begin in a whole host of industries against extraordinary overt power that was used quite violently in many cases. Today's reality is 1,000 times more open, notwithstanding the many, many challenges. So I don't think the history is written yet. And I think this place, producing so much talent that will work to ensure that there's fairness in negotiations and there's dialogue, is part of the formula of the future. And so this expansion means a lot in terms of the kind of society that I hope we will be able to create. Now, I want to give you the live example. I'll be very quick, but I want to give you the live example from our administration. Again, Marty Scheinman was in the middle of a lot of this. You want a challenge? Think of the challenge our team faced that walked in the door January 1st, 2014. 0 workers under contract. To put that in perspective, I have 380,000 employees. I did a little fact check the other day. Victor, you'll be engaged by this. So I said, compared to other states in the country, how do our number of employees stack up? Turns out there's only one state in America with more employees than New York City, the state of California. So with 380,000 employees, none of whom were under contract, and they were members of over 100 different unions, or locals, I should say, and it could have been entirely bleak. But our team said, well, definitely Rome wasn't built in a day. I'll use all the hackneyed phrases. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. They said all those things, and they got to work. And they got the first contract with the teachers and just slowly but surely worked through everything else. By the end of that round, we went from literally zero workers under contract to 99.9% of our workforce under contract. Can't do much better than that. And folks worked so hard in our Office of Labor Relations, and they did an amazing job. And then came the second round, which could have been a letdown, but really only began in the last year, and already 66% of our workers are under new contract. Because we create an atmosphere of respect and dialogue and mutual destiny. So I want to wrap it together this way. I mentioned that I don't think the future's written yet. The notion that the labor movement only can decline, I think, is an absolute misunderstanding. And look at what happened after the Janus case. I've talked to some of the most prominent labor leaders in America about this. The Janus case was supposed to be the death knell. It was supposed to lead to an immediate decline in the number of public sector employees who were unionized. I spoke to a major public sector union leader a few weeks back who told me, as a result of a number of developments simultaneously, that their national membership had actually gone up since the Janus case, because unions are continuing to organize. Because some people who were not unionized, when they suddenly saw that those benefits were threatened, they wanted to be unionized. It's not had the exact reverse effect, but it has had the effect of waking a lot of people up to the value of being a member of a union. And bluntly, it has said to the labor movement that it was time to examine their practices and figure out how to be most relevant and most effective with workers and bring them back to the meaning, the original meaning of why workers banded together in common interest. So this ball game is quite live. There's a lot to happen up ahead. And we here are trying to keep, in this city, trying to keep pushing that spectrum to show that there can be more and more for working people, not less and less. We announced just last month a program to guarantee health care for all New Yorkers who don't have insurance. We announced legislation to do something that every industrialized country on earth does, except the United States of America, which is to guarantee at least 2 weeks paid vacation for everyone who works. Again, the rest of the industrialized world, they made that decision a long time ago. But in the place where people work the longest, hardest hours and have the most stress, we still don't guarantee paid time off for a huge number of Americans, and that includes 500,000 New Yorkers who don't have a single day guaranteed paid time off in a year. So these are big changes we need to make, and we can. And it reminds me every day when we do this work to look to what's possible, to not be tethered by an assumption of what can't be done, but to look at what can be done. And I think that's the ethic of this place too. I think ILR has always been about how we can get someplace that people may have presumed impossible, how we can find agreement where people may have thought it wasn't there, where maybe not thought it could not exist, how we can create unity, how we can create common cause. And your work is absolutely crucial. And if you're expanding, that can only mean good things for New York City and, in fact, for this whole country. So congratulations to all.